Our next short presentation is going to be from somebody I've known for a very long time. It's about a really interesting new technology that I think has a lot of potential to help us in the type world as well as in broader society. Venkat from Monotype is going to come talk to us about C2PA and some other aspects of that around information authenticity. Venkat, please come up.
Good morning, everyone. I trust you all have been enjoying the conference so far and had a chance to soak up some of the Brisbane's vibrant energy. Speaking of which, I stumbled upon some interesting tidbits about our host city. For instance, I came to know that Brisbane River is not only lifeline for the region, but also the longest river in the southeast Queensland. For the art enthusiasts among us, it's a delight to know we're in the vicinity of Australia's largest modern art gallery. So this spirit, distinction, and grandeur is a fitting backdrop for our conversation on building trust through transparency. So trust and transparency are the two pillars that stand at the core of progress and innovation. So this is my second time at ATypI, and I have fond memories of meeting some of you last year. Seeing familiar faces and new ones in this gathering is truly invigorating. So I'm Venkat Yetrintala and the CTO at Monotype. So for 19 years, I've been part of the company that's at the forefront of technology in the type industry. One of my pivotal roles has been to lead the development of standard that not only serves Monotype, but also the type industry at large. So today, I'm thrilled to share the latest updates on our project. A journey I hope will both enlighten and inspire you to join us in advancing this standard to new heights. So let's embark on this journey together and see where this innovation can lead us. So before we delve into the heart of today's discussion, let's set the stage with a brief introduction to Monotype. So as a leader in type design and technology, Monotype has a heritage of innovation that uniquely positions us at the forefront of this initiative. Our commitment to excellence in the bedrock upon which we stand to lead this exciting journey into developing industry standards. Understanding who we are will give the context to why we are driving this conversation. So we currently have a library of 150K fonts, the product of the world of most celebrated and gifted type designers from over 1,500 type foundries. Our library introduces some of the most famous, widely used fonts such as Helvetica, Universe, Frutiger, typefaces families, as well the new innovative fonts like Gotham. So our global presence has also allowed us to work with type foundries which cater heavily for typefaces built with non-Latin character set. So sorry about the loaded slide here. So I couldn't help myself. I thought all of these are useful links. If you're eager to dig deeper, please contact me. I can provide the slides. Otherwise, you can wait until the organizers share the deck with you guys. So here are some helpful, if you're interested. So as I've stated earlier, we stand out as a top font provider with a vast selection of 150K fonts from 1,500 foundries. We're growing through strategic acquisitions and partnership with leading foundries like Adobe. Our expertise in curation and technology is backed by innovative tools like What the Font and solid patent portfolio. We also actively engage in the community through the Creative Characters, a podcast, very popular one, and collaborate events like this one. So we support a broad range of professionals in the creative field and look forward to expanding our offerings to developers, students, and freelance creatives. So show your hands if this problem statement resonates with you. Nothing? So anyway, so in the digital age of font authenticity, and which presents the unique challenges, verifying a font authenticity and tracking its changes are critical and very complex, affecting the digital integrity and the trust we place in our content. This complexity creates the security risk where fonts can be tampered with or misused. We face a lack of standardization. There is no single unified protocol for font certification. This makes it very difficult designers, publishers, and businesses to assure that font they are using is genuine and authorized. So traceability is another concern. Without straightforward method to track font changes, we cannot easily discern the original from the modified. So this leads to a significant challenge in maintaining the integrity of our digital assets. Security concerns amplifies these challenges as the potential for malicious modifications of font can introduce vulnerabilities. So the urgency for industry-wide solution cannot be overstated. We need to develop a system to ensure the integrity, trust, and authenticity of the fonts. So we recognize the importance of identifying the font accurately, which sparks our initiative to develop a system very similar to vehicle identification number. Later, we pivoted to C2PA, a standard that not only identifies the fonts, but also secure their authenticity and attribution. So it's a game changer for protecting digital assets and ensuring that creators are credited appropriately. So modeled after Win, it's a design to encode critical information about the font, like family, foundry, version, weight, etc. So this system facilitates global tracking of fonts and their derivatives, enhancing the management, security, and accountability within the industry. So in winter of 2022, Monotype made a strategic shift towards the C2PA, joining forces with the major industry players to combat this misinformation. C2PA stands for Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, and it presents a unification of Adobe's Content Authenticity Initiative, which provides the context and history for digital media, and Project Origin, a collaboration between Microsoft and BBC aimed at tackling misinformation in the digital news ecosystem. This coalition is about creating the standardized approach to verify the source and history of media content, which is crucial in an era where digital manipulation is on the rise. By establishing technical standards for certifying the authenticity of the content, CTPA aims to restore trust in online media. A joint effort with the tech giants like Adobe, ARM, Intel, Microsoft, and Trupic, this initiative makes a significant commitment to transparency and truth in the digital realm. So as you can see, the CTPA initiative is backed by a strong coalition of influential members. So the steering committee includes industry giants like Adobe, BBC, Google, Intel, Microsoft, Sony, Trupic, etc. So their leadership is instrumental in driving the direction and adoption of the C2PA standard. So the general members include AWS, ARM, and Korn, among others. So reflect the wide range support and the collective effort towards the trust digital ecosystem. Each members contribute to the reinforcement of the C2PA standard, make it truly comprehensive and universal initiative. So contributors from various sectors, including tech, media, and information security, bring diverse representatives and the expertise. This collaboration ensures the development of robust and versatile solution for content authenticity. So Monotype is very proud to be part of this vital endeavor, working alongside these organizations to shape future where content authenticity is verifiable and reliable. Again, C2PA stands for Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity. It's a technical standard that's changing the game for the digital asset creation. With the C2PA, creators can confidently assert information about their work and the subsequent actions it undergoes after creation, ensuring every piece of digital content has a traceability and verifiable history. So consider the fonts. They're not just design elements. They are digital assets with a value and rights attached. So CTPA enables us to protect these assets, ensuring creators receive a proper credit and users have a confidence in the authenticity of the font they use. So our objective with the MVP was to develop the technology that enables a clear identification and authentication of the font files, tracking their attribution and edit history. So we have made substantial progress with our MVP. We have showcased both internally and externally. So we have contributed to the C2PA specification with a proposal and source code that supports font files, which has been accepted in version 1.4 of C2PA standard. So this advancement is parallel in our work with the open font format Google specification and our proposal for new C2PA tables. So on the interface there, you will notice that provenance tree, which allows for the visualization of the font's lineage, and a section that visually highlights the difference between original and modified font over there. So moreover, we have detailed JSON manifest over there that reports detailed metadata, including production and editing details supporting the font's credentials. So as we consider the broader context, linking fonts directly to issues like deepfakes and fake news might seem far-fetched. However, the principles of verified provenance is just as vital for fonts as for any other digital assets. Fonts are foundational to presentation information, and ensuring their authenticity is a key step in maintaining the integrity of the digital content. So we are enhancing the value of our contribution by building upon groundwork laid by the Content Authenticity Initiative, C2PA, and the Project Origin. So this collaboration is instrumental in shaping an open source ecosystem that is robust and transparent. So by aligning with the industry standards through C2PA, we are not just innovating for Monotype's sake, we are elevating the entire typographic industry. It's about creating the universal language for the trust in digital assets. So going forward, Monotype is going to commit to integrate the C2PA into our own font production process. We believe this is not only enhance our own products, but will also be significant asset to our partner across the digital ecosystem. So we have partnered with the Pixel team to add font support into C2PA and other ideas like Chrome extension that dives very deep into the C2PA framework. So Pixel's team already has experience with the C2PA, and they have their own studio. I will show you a demo a little bit later. So we remain committed to industry standards like OpenType and open font format specifications. So in our advocacy and education efforts, we will continue to present at the events like this and publishing insightful papers through our Monotype labs, where we publish a lot of blogs about our technology. So operationally, we are ramping up our backend to fully integrate with C2PA standards. So this includes updating our API to handle manifest creation and modifications. So this roadmap underscores our commitment to leading the way in the responsible digital font management, fostering future where every font's origin and authenticity are transparent and verifiable. So in June 2023, Monotype proudly joined C2PA, committing to the collective goal of ensuring content provenance and authenticity. We took hands-on approach by rolling out some sample implementation of C2PA support for OpenType and TrueType fonts. So this was made possible by forking the repositories available in GitHub, showcasing our active participation and contributions to C2PA's font support branches. Our effort culminated in the landmark movement in November 2023 when the C2PA 1.4 specification was updated to officially include OpenType and TrueType font containers as supported media types. So imagine being able to click on an extension within the browser, view the provenance information of the font and images on any website. So on the left-hand side of the screen shows the extension potential layout. It clearly lists the fonts used on the web page, providing users with the immediate insights into the digital asset used. On the right-hand side, you see how the extension could display detailed metadata, such as content source verification. So this means anyone could instantly verify the authenticity of the font and images they encounter online. So every PDF document is comprised of various elements, text, their ingredients that together create a complete file. So as you know, font is very, very important ingredient in any of these documents. So let's dive into a demo under how C2PA could help address these challenges.
Hello, ATypI. My name is Erin Oberhauser. I'm a UX designer from PixelStream, a startup focused on authentic digital media through the use of content credentials. Content credentials are digitally signed metadata added to assets like images, video, audio, and now fonts that help consumers verify their origin and provenance. We partnered with Monotype beginning last year to collaborate on both adding content credentials directly to font assets, as well as using signed fonts as ingredients in other design assets like images. My background is in the printing industry, and I've long had an affinity for fonts, so I'm really excited to be able to present to you an implementation using fonts as ingredients that you can see in a saved image. I wish this had been available 15 years ago when I spent countless hours looking for the exact right version of a font to create customer designs. So let's get started. We have a generated image, and if you see in the upper right, the CR icon lets us know that the image has been signed and that content credentials are present. If we click on the Inspect button, it takes us to the contentcredentials.org verify site, where we can see the content credentials here on the right. This lets us know that the image was generated with an AI tool, and also here in the created assertion, it lets us know that the file was signed at creation. If we go back to the Authentic Media Studio, we can open the image in the editor, and we're going to add some text and create a new design. If you look on the right, there's a Content Credentials preview window that lets us know as we add design elements or make edits to the design, it will add those to the Content Credentials. So I'm going to add a small background just to add some contrast for the text. Here. And if we go to the text tool, you'll see here that we have a selection of fonts. All of these fonts have been signed with content credentials, and you'll see more about that in a moment. I'm going to select the Helvetica Now text font, add a color and a size, and we're going to add some text to our design. Hello. ATypI 2024. There. Now we're going to save and sign this version. If we go back to the CR icon, you can now see that additional content credentials have been added showing our edits. And our assets used the 2 ingredients, the original generated image and the signed font. If we go back to contentcredentials.org, we get a visual representation of the provenance. That includes our final image and its 2 ingredients, again in the lower left, the original generated image, and on the lower right, our signed font, which you can see here was signed by Monotype Imaging, Inc. I'm just gonna go back to the Authentic Media Studio and show you one more thing. And we're gonna inspect and show the actual signed font. And you can see here on the right, there's a font assertion that gives us additional information about the font, such as the family name, format, and copyright. And that's signed fonts as design ingredients. Thank you so much for listening and for your interest in content credentials, especially as they relate to fonts.
So hope this helps understand what I've been talking about. So I can also do the live demo if you have time. Otherwise, we can take some questions.
Well, we've kind of run up to time with the break, but I think it would be really good to get a couple of questions. I'll be totally honest, I've been talking with Venkat about this for quite a bit now, and I think it's really relevant to what we do as designers in helping consumers of our work understand whether or not it's true. I mean, think back to Mary's talk the other day about how easy it is to create things using AI. I mean, except sans serif. We'll leave that. But knowing whether or not something is a fake is really critical. I live in the US. There's plenty of other US citizens here that are living in a political time that is perhaps less than genuine much of the time. And so this is a technology that could really help change that. Maybe open this up to some questions.
I'm not going to speak to the technology, but you said that a lot of, about integrity, trust, authenticity, and attribution, and the Monotype cares about these values. And I just want to suggest that if you're going to call the Gotham one of Monotype's key fonts going forward, you should really attribute Tobias Fred-Jones as its designer.
Another question over here.
Hi, as a type designer, how would I, if under this system, go about ensuring that the work that I'm doing is registered under this system? Like, would I need to go through some kind of certification process? So what I'm getting at is what's to stop any nefarious font copier from just submitting stuff as if it's their own genuine work? How would the process work for the origin point, which is the type designer?
So how do you get the certification for your fonts?
Yeah, and how do I need to go through some kind of certification process?
So as I mentioned, one of the roadmap items that we have is that to have all of our fonts goes through our system are certified. They will have the manifest. So that's one way. And another way is this is open source code. Everybody has access to the code on the GitHub. So you could take that code and implement in our own process. Or we're also exposing an API with this functionality. So you could consume the API. And the people like PixelStream, so they are building a lot of these plugins, Chrome extension or the Adobe extensions they are building. As they become more available, such tools, you'll be able to sign these in any application possible.
So I'll add sort of an analog to this. Currently, it's already in use in some graphics applications. And for example, Leica, with their latest M camera, actually has the technology baked into the camera itself so that when you take the photo, it can embed that information. So the goal is it's actually in your control as an asset creator, the person who owns this, to be able to embed your certification in this. This is who I am. You got this typeface from me. It also then exposes that information to anybody viewing the website in actually a much easier manner to discover. So, like she referred to in the video, for all of us as graphic designers that would struggle to figure out what the typeface is that's being used somewhere, it actually would be much easier to discover and actually know, and you'd be able to see if it's actually licensed for the person who's using it. So there are some interesting benefits that could come from something like that.
But I think Wayne's question is, I could just take ABC Sans and then add my name as a certification to it and then upload it somewhere and say, this font belongs to Dominique, when it actually doesn't. So what are the safeguards to just stop people plagiarizing and then claiming ownership?
You can obviously stop that, but you always could track back and see, like, you will see that information within the font, right? It's easy to track back, right? So if someone could say it's their font, but there'll be a registry of this, like all this manifest within the font included, like someone who is originally ones, they can go back and check that.
So it's embedded as metadata at the time that the font was created, and you can't then go and add it on later. So, yeah.
That's the goal. And obviously it only works if you actually know about it and can access it at the very beginning.
Yeah.
But that's the power of an open standard, is that hopefully it then gets baked into all of the tools that we use all of the time.
Got you. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Cool.
I don't think of content provenance as being one of the most common problems that I encounter as a type or graphic designer. I do think that the recognition of what typeface I'm seeing somewhere, or for example, if I'm like in font book and I would like to see more information about a designer or foundry, I think that's all really interesting. But I'm curious if there are ways, like for example, font piracy is a far more relevant challenge to our industry, and I'm curious how this could interface with some of that challenge, or if it's kind of completely separate.
So, then we're talking about the DRM type, right? So the who owns license and things like that. So there is an extension to this framework where you can embed all that licensing information as well, entitlements as well. But, as part of the standard, they're not considering, that any of the DRM attributes into the standard manifest, but you can always, as you have seen in one of the slides, so there is a way for you to embed your social media. Similar to that, you can have an external link to tie all that, entitlement information as well. So that will give you that, ability to track, who actually licensed, who is not, and all that. But that's not part of the standard.
All right, well, I think that's it. I do believe that there are snacks and goodies outside, so let's have one more round of applause. Thank you, and then we'll go for a break.